Well guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another little Tiny Tuesdays. Now this will be a Tiny Tuesdays, unlike the start of Sunday's vlog, and I guess everyone's waiting to hear the status on the van. So I am pleased to report that the van is fixed. Slightly more than we thought it was going to be, even though the garage quite graciously give us a bit of a discount. But yeah, the van is fixed. But all is still not well in the world. What we wanted to do, we picked up the van on Friday morning. Yes, Friday morning. And we wanted to stay reasonably local, just to check a few things over, check electricity for one, make sure they hadn't damaged there, and just to kind of decompress. So we came back over to the little stopover that's about 5k outside of Tivera. The plan being that we had a bit of work to do, check over the van, get ourselves sorted, stay one, maybe 2 nights, head into Tivera on the Friday night and just basically decompress. That didn't quite happen. So about 2 o'clock on Friday, Nicola, she'd been lying in the hammock and she came in and said, "My stomach's a bit, yours okay?" We had just had some eggs, fried egg sandwiches, which had been in the fridge with the fridge turned off, but I don't think that would have caused any issue per se. They were on their best before date. Maybe that had something to do with it, I'm not sure. But her condition slowly deteriorated. Now, about 7 o'clock on Friday evening, we realised that we were, not going out that night for sure, and probably going to have to stay another night. She hadn't really been sick. She'd been, I'd felt a little bit, but not too bad. Bit of a stronger constitution, I think, as well. Just sort of thought, okay, this is a bit of a bug. We didn't really think, and we still don't think it was the eggs. We'll just have to sort of play this out, see how we go. Thankfully, to this date, apart from my pretty significant illness in Albufeira a couple of years ago, we have both kept reasonably well on the road. Well, her condition continued to get pretty bad, to the point where at about 2 o'clock in the morning, we started to pack a bag, needing to potentially visit a hospital. We thought maybe appendicitis, wasn't really moving anywhere. We kind of toed and froed. We read some of the reviews of the hospitals in Faro. And let's just say, comparing that to the garage in Faro is an absolute haven of wonderfulness. So we thought, okay, let's see whether we can just ride this one out. So it was a very, very uncomfortable night for Nicola. Very, very sore stomach, really bent over in pain. Me having to leave the van several times in the course of the evening, so no sleep. Well, yeah. And we kind of hoped that on Saturday morning yesterday that she maybe started to feel a little bit better. But while the pain had subsided somewhat, she literally was completely wiped out. And I mean, didn't leave the van, didn't leave the bed, couldn't really get comfortable. And so again, a pretty rough day yesterday. Now, we had not planned for any, we had planned to leave yesterday, so we had no real supplies around here. Not that she was eating. Luckily, we have access to water. So we just basically hung out here all day, hoping that things were going to slowly improve, 24, 36-hour thing. But by last night, while the pain had not got any worse, she was still pretty rank, and I had started to feel a little bit as well. So we were like, oh no. So I was even checking hospitals across the border in Spain, which didn't get much better reviews, so I think I'm going to stop reading reviews, to be fair. Now this morning we have woken up, I think, on the road to recovery. The pain is not as bad. I think she slept a little bit better. Was waking up a few times just trying to get comfortable, but still completely and utterly wiped out. Thankfully, my symptoms haven't really developed too much. I still don't feel, I just had a bowl of soup yesterday, mainly because we didn't have anything else to eat. Well, actually, that's a lie. I made myself some couscous and I always put a stock cube in it, and I run out of stock cubes, so I found this other stock pot thing, made the couscous with it, and it turned out it was a carrot flavoured stock pot. So as you can imagine, at 6 o'clock last night, nothing else open, thinking I'm going to be enjoying couscous, and it was a carrot flavoured mush, so that went straight in the bin. As I left her about an hour and a half ago to come up here and do a little bit of work. And hopefully today, that stomach pain continues to subside. She did have a migraine this morning, so that was probably making her feel pretty rank. And I think after everything that's gone on the last month, it's all just kind of maybe the emotions have just let down and all this has just come in. So we're here today again, and most likely tomorrow as well. But at this point, I don't really care about delays and timings and stuff. We just want to kind of get Nicola feeling better, and then hopefully we can get back on the road. The other slightly concerning thing was obviously we came here to check out the electricity, and I really don't understand this here. We were plugged in, and if you remember back in the day whenever we first got our battery switched over, we were getting over voltage alarms on the controller. Well, the other night whenever I plugged us into electric hookup, there were moments where we were sitting at 15.1 volts on the electric hookup, and that was given as an over voltage alarm. Haven't seen that in months. A little bit concerning that it's come around just as after the garage has had their way. But I did switch power panels to a different one, and I think maybe it was a bit of a red herring. Hopefully it was a bit of a red herring, because we could really do without any more issues. But as I say, we're probably here for another day, probably 2. I'd rather her be completely recovered. That does, however, introduce another problem. There's another bloody heat wave coming. Now, by Wednesday, we had hoped to be quite a bit north in Spain, even with a few days. Obviously, this would have been our second day of travelling. I think by Wednesday, in some parts of Portugal and middle of Spain, it looks like it's going to be 40 degrees during the day and 26 degrees during the night. Well, that's going to be fun. So we need to make a decision whether we're going to carry on travelling slowly, or whether we're going to revert back to our original plan and try to get out of the heat. But for now, I think it's mostly taking care of this one. And hoping that pain, that was pretty scary. 2 o'clock at night, and she's literally bent over and climbing the walls, and you know, you're thinking, geez, should I take the van out? Should we phone for an ambulance, phone for an Uber? So thankfully we didn't have to do that. And of course last night, going to bed and she was still not feeling the best, we both had there was an unspoken level of an anxiety hanging in the air. So, but at least this is a lovely place to be. No services about, there's a couple of restaurants down there, but they're closed again today. So what I'm going to do later on is we need some supplies. So I'm going to head down into Tivera. I might just walk down, it's about 5k, and then get an Uber back, but we definitely need some supplies, not least some water and a few other bits and pieces. So that's the plan for today. So while the van is fixed, other issues continue to halt our progress. Yeah, it's been a blinking challenging year. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with a little bit of work, carry on with this coffee, and hopefully in the next hour or so, what time is it now? It is 9 o'clock. Hopefully the next hour or so I'll wander back down, and maybe she'll be feeling slightly better. So guys, we mean business. I'm heading down to Tivera to have a bit of a mooch around and pick up some supplies. Bit of an update on Nicola. Well, actually 2 updates on Nicola. Firstly, she's feeling much better, still quite weak on it, but feeling much better than she was, which is good. We're able to get some Rivita and a little bit of plain yogurt in her. Of course, yogurt all the way. But number 2, went back to the van and she was on the phone to her mum, and I heard her say, well, yeah, I cooked eggs that were 2 days out of date. Remember, these are the eggs as well that were in the fridge for 2 days in the garage while the fridge was turned off. I was like, what? And when she hung up, I says, Nicola, you said those eggs were, on the date. Yeah, I lied. They were 2 days out of date. Now, I'm sure there's some people out there who are saying, they'd be grand. And probably if they'd have been kept in a cool environment, they would have been. But they were in a fridge for 2 days with the fridge switched off, and they were 2 days out of date. I think we've got to the bottom of our culprit. Nicola tries to poison us, and see, and that was because she wanted to get fed. Got to keep an eye out for that one. Nicola's Circle of Chaos. Turns out she's trying to poison us. I'm going to come down here to a little side street. Actually, there's a little bar cafe here. It's shut today. And I'm going to order an Uber. I was going to walk in, but it turns out it's about 7k down to Tivera. So order an Uber and we'll catch up down there. The luck of the Irish, eh? Just got a message from Nicola. She's obviously feeling a little bit better, so she had a little bit of work to do, so she thought she would just log on. I think, as she mentioned in Sunday's video, her laptop is now just constantly blue screening, and say she's got an important bit of work needs to be in tomorrow, and they've got no chickens in Pingo Dulce. Grand scheme of things is probably the least of our problems right now, but well, guys, another pretty restless night from Nicola, and her laptop is indeed completely kaput. I was able to cobble together a temporary solution. How long temporary remains for, we're not quite sure, but I was able to cobble together a solution for her to at least work on the urgent project today using my MacBook. She is feeling a little bit better today. At least her stomach pain seems to have subsided quite a lot. As I say, yesterday, with all of the stress of the laptop dying, it really derailed her recovery, and she ended up pretty much back to square one. Maybe not as excruciating pain, but yeah, another restless evening and overnight, not really eating a huge amount. But we have reached out to a PC fixer recommended to us by the chap who we did the cat sit for. We are literally about 15 miles from that place, even though that's about 9 weeks ago. But it does mean that we're heading tomorrow back to Albufeira, where this kind of whole shenanigans kind of started, because that's where, I forget his name, the mechanic at Albufeira Camping pulled out our spring, and we thought, oh, that should be an easy fix. Now, we'll probably need to stay there 1, maybe 2 nights, because apparently the chap who's doing the fix now only works mornings, 10 till 1. And of course, I'm sure tomorrow it'll be mostly diagnostics, so we're going to try to get her laptop in for 10, and so we can have a good run at it in the morning. I guess we'll maybe be there 2, potentially 3 nights. Now, we're not going to go back to Albufeira Camping. We're just going to go to the Les Salubrious Air, which is really just a dusty car park. I think it's something like €13 a night or something. Not a huge amount of shade, if any, and pretty run down and dilapidated, but we don't really want to have to drive to Albufeira to then drive over here to then drive back to Albufeira again. Apologies that this vlog has been, well, two things. One, lacking Nicola for obvious reasons. She's not going to be appearing this week or this Tuesday. And 2, it has just been me giving you a bit of a status update. Now, with all of the faffing that has been going on, and the fact that we're pretty much recording this and publishing this live on the day, we'll have a huge amount of backlogged vlogs to upload. We may skip a week this coming Sunday, because I don't think we really need to show you anything of Albufeira and all of that jive, unless we do manage to get away sooner rather than anticipated and start to explore again. So, but there you go. We got the van fixed. Nicola poisoned us with eggs, and her laptop blew up. Fun times in van life. Right, guys, well, once again, I'm just lying here in the hammock. I've been feeling a little bit dodgy most of the day. Now, bless her as well. She's been in there working for about 7 hours today, even though she's been feeling pretty fragile. An absolute trooper. And I say, thankfully, my cobbled together MacBook solution got her out of that hole. So, right, guys, well, once again, thanks a lot for following along. And until next time, maybe this Sunday, maybe not. But hopefully not in the south of Portugal. Take care. Bye-bye.